So, hey guys, Chauzu here. So we got it revealed today who the end of month legend is, and it's going to be one legend, and it's not Law or Kid or Big Mom, it's actually ISO. And we got some extra info just now actually from JP, actually has a godlike support. He removes 1 turn of damage reduction and gives 10% stats to like Whitebeard, Odin, Kiku, Marco. So that's an incredible support, worth pulling just for that. But I'm going to be pulling a bit just because it's a big shooter buff. I love shooters. Captain ability buffs strength and shooters. Makes recovery 10 on matching. And basically he's a bit like a Ruben Beckman. He can remove damage reduction, damage threshold with his captain ability, but 2 turns, but there are some more conditions around that. Damage reduction, you need barrier pen, and damage threshold, it says that when tapping on this character with a 1 orb. There's actually an error here, we'll get into that later. Special, not as good as say like Ruben Beckman, but seed reduction, HP cut, you get increased chain growth rate for strength and shooters, as well as a base attack boost. And if enemy has a 5 times or more of defensive effects, you change all slots, well, type slots and block orbs to Wano, which is obviously a really good mechanic. Anyway, we actually got some footage of this batch from JP Twitter. They do that every month, so make sure to always check the JP OPTC Twitter for this info. And we're going to watch it one time normally, and then we're going to do slow motion and freeze and talk a bit more in depth. But this is the batch. We have legend ISO, we have rare recruit Marco, Kiko and Usopp, and we have the presumed free-to-play Pirate King Adventures Maha, one of the CPO agents, the one who got defeated by X-Drake. So the batch is mostly shooter focused. Kiku is definitely not shooter. Marco, we actually don't really have a confirmation. Usopp is a safe guess. We know Maha is a shooter from the way his special works. And for ISO, we also know that ISO has a final tap, pretty decent. We can talk about that later when we freeze frames. But as you see there, we get a lot of defensive effect reduction. And there you see the final tap, no special animation sadly. Okay, let's take it a bit more easy now and go in depth. I will say about Usopp that this is actually the 5th rare recruit Usopp from Onigashima. I don't know why they keep spamming him, but Usopp is Sai actually, Maha is Dex, the rest is strength. But yeah, one thing to keep in note here when they put up the defensive effects is that there's also def up there, and ISO can actually handle the def up with his kit as well. So he's basically another variation of like Ruben Beckman, as you know. For me, they were the best legend of last year. So getting a follow-up is very cool, and they work well together. I still say like Ruben Beckman is better. First we have Marco here. And we can see that he removes the bind. We can also see that he applies damage threshold to the team. But other than that, it's not really much he does with this special, at least from what we can see. Moving on, we use Kiku here. We get an ore boost and a chain boost for 2 turns. Doesn't appear to be anything more than that. But we don't have the full rare recruit info. We just have basically the full ISO info right now. Here we see ISO in action. Applying the base attack boost, we also get the increased chain growth rate. And because the defensive effects are 12 turns left and def up is 6 turns, we do get the full board of Wano here since we had the block orbs. And just full board of Wano manip makes any unit long-term viable. Moving on, we're going to see Usopp or Maha. Oh, yeah, the superclass. So here we can talk a bit about the superclass, and as you see, it does remove the def up. ISO superclass removes 6 turns of def up, and you also get 25% resistance applied to the enemy for shooters. So if you run double ISO, you can remove 12 turns of def up and get a 50% resistance reduction. So that's pretty cool. I don't really think double ISO is going to be a thing. ISO is definitely a hybrid or a sub, but still a cool option. Usopp, very unique special Usopp delays and applies a delay conditional, and as far as I can see, that's basically all he does. Pretty boring, I must say. But yeah, moving on now, we get to see Maha a bit. What I'd like to see is special. This is basically all we get to see, a freeze frame. But yeah, this dude is very weird. He just keeps holding the sign all the time. It feels like that's not an optimal way of fighting. Anyway, we can see that Maha does do an attack boost for 1 turn. It's for fighter and shooters. We can also see that Maha buffed the base attack boost from ISO. We don't even know by how much. We can also see that the buff doesn't apply to Kiku. This means that Kiku is not a shooter. That's going to be important in a bit. And now we're going to tap. As you see here, we see a big thing here. Kiku removes both damage reduction and damage threshold. It should only be damage reduction by the global info and the JP info, to be honest, but the way JP say it works is that if shooters have a Wano orb, you remove damage threshold, but we know that Kiku is not shooter, but still removes it. So it could be a sailor, but this is even weirder. Usopp should be a shooter, no reason for him not to be, and he removes damage reduction, but he doesn't remove damage threshold. He's a shooter, presumably with a Wano orb. He should remove the damage threshold. Like, that makes no sense at all. Either there's some very funky clauses on these units, or there is like just an error in how this works. And Usopp here, unless Usopp is not a shooter, this is a straight up bug. And it would be very weird to have a bug in the video. We can see Marco here. Marco might be shooter, but he also removes the damage threshold. So all units here remove damage threshold except for the Usopp. It makes no sense in my book why he doesn't remove it. And yeah, Kiku or ISO of course has parry pen, so you easily get through it. ISO's final tap increases the chain by 2.25 times at level 5, and it also removes damage reduction damage threshold by 1 turn, so just some extra nice bonus. I like that Lucky Ruben and Beckman has super tandem and ISO has final tap, makes them a bit better together. But yeah, I'm very happy with this unit. I want to test more, see if they are actually bugged or what is going on. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.